friend has commented that I seem to have more passion for gardening compared to my actual job.
How crazy do I get? I drink at 9 a.m. in the morning. Hey Jen, are we ready? I have no idea what has been prepared for me, and my teaching partner Hui Juan will actually pour the wines. So what you need to do is to figure out just everything about the wine without looking at the label. Lots of citrus, a bit of passion fruit on the palate, grassy on the nose, Sauvignon Blanc, possibly a bit older because of the color. 5-year-old New Zealand Sauvignon maybe. So that tells you a lot. So what I'm trained to do is, from sight, smell and taste alone, be able to decipher a wine's origin, grape variety, and winemaking processes. This wine's a bit garnered, tells you about age. Vintage, quite old. 15 years or so. It's really oxidative. When you get such a wine, this rustic, a bit earthy, it's only one place to go. It's a banker, it's a Rioja.
Congratulations for getting all the wines right.
I did my degree in Cambridge and my PhD in Oxford. Down there, you get the weirdest societies and the weirdest sport. There was an aha moment, and that's when you discover the sport of blind tasting. Make it age a bit longer, but the Australians, they tend to try and get rid of all the tannin. So what I mean by get rid doesn't mean you actually take out the tannin. So, to excel at blind tasting, you must have your theory down pat. So when I came back to Singapore, what I found was there were a lot of people that wanted to learn about wine. So these elements, each fall on the flow chart, can be an aroma, can be an acid level, can be a tannin level, can be anything. My primary motivator for doing wine education is to share my passion with everyone, to give people a very good idea of what wine really is, what goes into making every bottle, and also how best to enjoy such bottles. Tasting the same wine across multiple vintages, that would be a vertical tasting. Wine is a window to the world. Wine is not just a science, not just a drink, it's also an art. So wine knowledge requires you to have a very good grasp of geography. Not only which town is in which part of France, but also what the land is like. So you need to have a very good grasp of biology as well, plant biology, what has to be in the soil for the grapevine. And of course, there's a lot of culture, there's philosophy, history as well, because a lot of them are governed by what their ancestors used to do. As someone that's interested in what goes on in the world, it's very rewarding to go and find out all of these things. I work at the Experimental Drug Development Center in A*STAR, which is the national platform for drug discovery. My day-to-day job involves finding new small molecule therapies for diseases with unmet needs. My job needs me to actually analyze large amounts of data in order to find which compounds are able to hit certain drug targets. Both are based on science, really, because what actually goes into the bottle is a mixture of chemistry and biology. However, science is very much an I stare at machine job, I stare at numbers kind of job. So I appreciate the human interaction when I run classes. In the lab, it's not good to chat because you really do need to be really focused. While I won't be distracted that badly, it is possible that other scientists will be, and they might just blow up the experiment.
This started as a hobby, but it has now become a full-blown passion. We started renting this place about 4 years ago. On average, about $600 to $700 a month. That is how much I have to spend on my hobby. This is a blackberry plant. It's meant to grow in a temperate country. And I got the seeds from supermarket blackberries. Okay, you can see here, all these are the fruitlets that are starting to grow. Now we have a big bunch of fruits here. It's considered quite lucky, weather permitting. I thought if grapes was possible to grow in Singapore, then it should be possible to grow some other exotic edibles. So that's when I decided to try and experiment on growing more different types of edibles. These white strawberries, I started them from seeds, asparagus and pepino melon, even a 4-year-old local tree from seed. Basically just for fun and to see whether they will fruit eventually or not. I have white roselle, Brazilian cherries. This is a flower god. It feels pretty heavy. You can almost feel the moisture and the juice inside. I spend about 4 hours a day here. Sometimes it could be more. The process of experimenting with different crops is the part of gardening that I enjoy the most. You face different things daily, firefighting daily. Basically, my whole focus will be on how to settle the problem. It's almost meditative. This is definitely the most challenging experiment that I've done, because by nature they are not used to our weather. With our high humidity and our heat and our pests, it's really tough to make them grow healthy and fruiting. It's very stressful and also very nerve-wracking.
I've been storing my wine here since 2017 when I came back from the UK. The problem with wine is that if you stare at the wine every day, eventually you will drink it. I come here as and when I need to, because sometimes I'll need wines for courses or events or dinners. My wife tells me I treat them better than the babies. They actually get to sleep in aircon all the time, and my babies don't. So normally I spend anything between $50 and $500 on a single bottle of wine. My most expensive buy ever is about $2,000. Generally, I don't buy wines just to invest in them because it pains my heart if I actually do sell them. I'm more of a drinker and educator, not really an investor. The problem with wine is that in Singapore, the environment is really not suitable for you to store wine. So you need to find a temperature-controlled environment. What I'm going to do now is to bring this back home for dinner, where it will actually pair really well with a lot of Cantonese roast meats. Roast duck or roast pork, there's a sweetish kind of sauce, so it should pair well with something that has a lot of fruit in the wine, such as a Grenache.
What kind of white wine go with it?
Okay, white wine.
In our house itself, we have 5 fridges, also a whole room dedicated to wines. So it's quite crazy compared to what he started with.
How crazy do I get? Yeah, I drink at 9 a.m. in the morning. What I want to do is really to see where the wine is and really to take notes on the wine. So I don't drink the whole bottle, I will just have a small glass. So this is my wine room where I will pick my wines up for courses, events, dinners, and things like that. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some wines for my upcoming course. Each rack in here actually represents a different region. For example, this rack over here, this is all Rhone Valley in southern France. The one on the left, my far left, that's Spain and Portugal. So really there's quite a lot of diversity in this room. It does cost a lot of money to get this stock done. If I were to sell every single bottle in this room, I could probably put my kids through university. But I'm not going to, right? We're heading actually to my classroom. When I have to teach classes in the evenings, you could easily get up to about 14 or 15 hours a day. 2 jobs is not easy because you do need to change your mindset, and sometimes that needs to be done in a matter of minutes. But what really excites me about going to every class is to see what the students are like, and then to tailor the class on the spot, literally on the fly, and tell them things that are not on the PowerPoint slides. That's really what gets me going there. We humans are able to actually taste 5 different tastes. Sweet, yes. Sour, bitter, salty, umami. Okay, the Japanese have proposed a 6th one called kokumi. Kokumi refers to the kind of meaty or fattiness in a food. But I think the most important thing is to not just teach knowledge, but to put it into context. Another thing we do in the wine classes is to incorporate food and wine pairing.
It enhances the spiciness.
Yeah, champagne is a terrible pairing with local food. With champagne, generally, as a wine educator, your job is to actually lead the interaction. Everybody likes a story.
When I'm doing baking, it's almost like muscle memory, right? I do not have to think too much. I do not have to refer to recipes. It's almost like reflex. I spend 4 to 8 hours a day on baking. I had my own cake website, but because of this hobby, I did not have that much time to focus on baking. So I decided to take down the website at the moment. These blackberries I grow myself at my farm. I've been using fresh harvested blackberries on my cakes, and also wonderberries, golden pearl berries, and the other not so exotic ones are like pumpkins and blue pea flowers. I grew up in a kampong. I feel like I'm back home to where my childhood time is, sitting on rambutan tree and just eating rambutan out of reach, you know, from the branches directly, fresh. This is what I do. I use a brush to gently brush the pollen to the middle of the flower onto the stigma. Growing exotic plants taught me a few things over the years. Sometimes you just have to take up some challenges and face them, or else you'll never know what's going to happen if you never try.
You need the credibility in order to really move on in this profession. So if I wanted to teach wine to a greater audience, it is a lot more useful to be a master of wine. This is kind of the new way to prepare for the MW exams. Since COVID, a lot of producers have decided to provide webinars where they show off their wines and get the local distributors to send the wines to the students.
So it's a very nice red blackcurrant, vanilla aromas, very smooth tannins.
This chapter I'm reading is about soil types. I didn't do geology in university, but geology is related to chemistry and biology, which are the two subjects that I actually specialize in. But when it comes to things like the business of wine, the marketing, it's a bit more of a struggle.
I only use mostly nitrogen-based fertilizer for dew. I just want the leaves to grow nicer. Doing baking alone at home is sometimes lonely. When I'm gardening, I've definitely made some good friends.
I actually grow them for the flowers.
I'm actually quite scared that I will over-fertilize them because they also...
We do share our experience and then share our produce also. He's very generous. Every time I walk past, I will be hoping, today maybe I will have something from him.
这边有小白菜，这些小白菜都可以采。
小白菜我都是只是清炒蒜头，有时候加一些
I enjoy sharing the produce.
上次你的一薯薯哦，很好吃哎，很甜很脆。
你怎么吃？你
煮汤。
I have many siblings that are very willing to eat what I grow. So most of the produce I have from the farm will go to them. I am not making any money out of this.
哇，熟了嘞！其实我们都很怀念乡村的生活，毕竟，但是这种乡村生活已经一去不复返了。
I guess I've never evolved from kampong days where I still like to be around nature. Sometimes on my way back, I see interesting plants that sort of caught my attention. This is a dog fennel, and quite often people mistook this for dill. Dog fennel is actually quite toxic to human consumption. If you consume it in large quantity, it's quite crucial that all this information are shared whenever possible. I've never thought of venturing into teaching about gardening. I've met many people over the years through gardening. It sort of changed me from being a bit shy to being more outspoken and looking forward to questions, because that is where I grow as a gardener myself.
I've been preparing for the Master of Wine exam since I signed up for the program in 2017, so about 4 years now. Every time I have a wine, that's kind of also preparing for the exam.
Hi.
Hello,
Jessie.
hey, great to see you. This
Come
is
in,
for...
come in.
We've prepared something special, a surprise. I decanted it for an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Look
Okay,
at
enough.
This one is quite umami as well, I find. In some
Didn't
sense.
really. I got a lot of ripeness, a lot of
Would you say the tannin is pretty high on this one?
moderately high. I don't think the wines are sitting. Obviously, in a class, there's only so much you can do. There's a syllabus. Well, it's always fun to be together with my students.
You want to have a look?
Okay, I'll get it totally wrong, and then I'll cry. Okay, it is an Amarone. Spot on.
Spot on.
Wine brings people together because there are many, many things you can talk about. Wine actually brings out a lot of ideas in people. For example, a lot of the essays I used to write, I wrote them while drinking wine. So it's something that has followed me through the years. Yeah.
Some of the customers also are mistakenly thought that this wine is come from a Burgundy. It has light, bright tannins on it.
Tastes very German. I won't mistake this for Burgundy, but I'll mistake this for German. This is one of the rare places in Singapore where they are willing to stock more adventurous wines The staff here tend to be really well trained, and they will be more than able to actually introduce the wines to the consumers.
This is a Saint Scholar. It has a strawberry and raspberry hint notes. This wine is sustainable.
You feel that sustainable sells better?
Most of the people, right?
Very few people in the trade actually had formal qualifications. They didn't think that staff needed wine education in order to sell wine effectively. If I were to get the MW, one of the things I really want to do is to improve the standards in the trade in Singapore. So to contribute in terms of education, in terms of training, in terms of opportunities for the trade.
I'm just spreading out the soil to reach the mass I want. So what I'm doing now is I'm using a plastic bag to cover the male pumpkin flower to protect the pollen. I'm looking forward to win new categories that I've not won before. Because you try to challenge yourself to grow bigger, longer, heavier plants or crops, right? It's just to try to break your own record. And if you do not take part in such activities, you'll never know what's involved, how do people grow their crops better. I'm at the age where I question what I've done in my life. Since the success of growing blackberries and sharing the cuttings to fellow gardeners, I feel that gives me some comfort to know that there'll be some gardeners who can benefit from it. I can safely say that I'm leaving something behind. It's sort of like a legacy